This shit chunky, boy. This shit chunky, boy.
The producer I was telling
This
you
shit
about.
chunky, boy. Yeah. We taking over the meta. We taking over the verse. I ain't gon' say we the best, but I say we're not the worst. Mac done linked up with Kane. Cheeks put it in a frame. Whole lives getting changed. This shit really ain't no game. They don't want smoke, that's on sip. I bring my A game, they on Z's, that's on rip. Keep the drama away from me, shit get crazy. I can't deal with no fakies, that's on Davey. Yeah. Meanwhile, kicking way back like an ad-lib back in Mac crib. We was having a little bash till the world crashed cause of the capacity. It was wild, brother.
Today was escape rooms created by Oculos410. Man, I spent probably 12 hours in his world with a couple friends. And but Soulstones actually did inspire me to build my first world. And that I'm pretty sure a lot of you, a couple faces out here that's been there before. That was an experience, questions and crazy things you run into. It was every day. You get a lot of kids in there, coming there, especially when people are on stage, probably trying to do a show or something like that. And it was a little hard at the end trying to get people out, trying to get the show get on and stuff. A lot of the people there, we kind of got the idea once a kid comes in there and once they're disruptive, we'll make sure we get them out at time to try to keep the show going. So, but most definitely, almost every single day, it was a disruption, and it still goes on today. But you know, it's a little bit more easier to control. I'm glad they gave us the access to boot people out, even doing a poll if you are a world creator. So that was most definitely a great input into our Horizon world.
Yeah, the ability to pull to remove was kind of like an essential thing when I first had a chance to use it. My thing was I knew immediately people were going to abuse it, and they do all the time. And so I'll have people come into the show, they'll start just polling random people, and then I'll turn my headset recording on because it ain't nothing for me to send this over to Oculus support, and they pull the logs and they can see who's pulling remove, and it's just as simple as that. So I don't know if you have to deal with that in your worlds, but have you had people basically doing the exact thing and causing problems, and then the only option you got is pull to remove.
Um, yeah, even with that, you would get some trolls in there just to poll to remove people. But if people in the world had an understanding of, we know that person's not, we know not to remove that person. Sometimes we most definitely could figure out like who's that person. Just poll the person standing there acting all weird and stuff like that. Kind of knew who that person was, but most definitely you got all the time.
See, I think my favorite tool, I don't know if your internet's starting to break up or what, but my favorite tool is just flat out being able to remove as a world creator. Because when I'm in the event space, sometimes the tools don't work, which today, thankfully, they are, because we were able to remove quite a few of, the people running around screaming for no damn reason. But just being a world creator, having the same tools, being able to mute people, being able to remove people, I mean, that's like essential tools as a world creator. I think everybody should get.
Definitely, especially events like this.
You must be running out of minutes. Everything is just broken up.
Can y'all hear me?
Nah, there you are. You back. So we got Super in the house. Shout out Super AF. Subscribe to Super. Support Super. Do all the things for Super. It's super time. I don't know if you got tagline or nothing, but I figured I'd give him that. It's super time.
If you guys didn't hear me, Soup is one of the first persons I actually met inside of Horizon Worlds. When I opened up Comedy Lit, he was most definitely one of the people in there. He's actually one of the first, and just trying to start up his business then. Doing photos, doing videos and stuff like that. And one of my next worlds I opened up after Comedy Lit was Wild in VR. And
there you are, you bet.
Definitely
Red Squad.
because I needed someone in there recording our episodes, and he that's most definitely a brother over there.
Yeah, Soup. I think I met him in Comedy Lit actually because he was recording. Somebody was on stage telling a story about how they was trying to get home and they had a whole lot of problems. And I ran up on him after he was. I seen one of his TikToks and I was like, I
Slowed down a little bit. Mostly everybody that was in there every day
not God.
became builders.
Right, exactly.
Everybody
Yeah.
found out that everyone can basically become a builder, and that is true. Just go into create mode, go build. It's easy once you get the hang of it. But after a while, I really did the whole design and everything built before we even got all these great new features in here, and and every it crashed for some reason. I don't know what's going on with it. I wrote a couple times, but 9 times I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but hopefully we can get it back up and running. So I get
Hi.
I'm gonna get a picture with you before you end up disappearing from the stage because I feel like your internet is about to.
my still question.
Hey. So now we got a thumbnail for the live stream. All right. There we go. But no, in all seriousness though, Comedy Lit was literally the spot to go to. I mean, people were up on stage, it was roasting, there was people telling funny ass stories, it was just good conversation out in the crowd. And you also had a little bit of fame going on for a minute with that spot. Somebody had reached out to you for having a spot in a comedy show. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, most definitely. During that time, it was doing crazy. Actually, a company expect to switch over to the internet as I probably get more better service right now. They reached this deal about a comedy show, real comedians and stuff, basically comedy special project. Man, I had so much fun working on that. Took about one without huge. It was a show. What's not Horizon World, and it was
Yeah, I think we're getting close to that point where your data's about to run out because the whole thing is just cracking up. Do me a favor if you could just disconnect and reconnect from your hotspot or check to see if you got a full signal because it's starting to taper off. Andrew Money's going to check his internet connection because he is starting to cut out a little bit. Um, so Andrew Money, if y'all didn't know, he's started out in here. He's got worlds such as the blackjack world. He's got the AM darts. He's got the $100 shot world, which was the one of the first ones that was monetized. So you could go in there, you could pay for the golden ball, and then you had a week to be able to score that $100 shot. And then there was in his latest world, if you haven't been to the blackjack world, now you can actually you can buy a chair for when you're at the table and you want to play blackjack. I think there's a couple more things you could purchase some extra chips, and he even gives away up to 1 million chips depending on when you go in there, what time you can hit that button and get yourself some chips. I think somebody just came back. Nope, that's not Andrew Money. So, trying to see if there's anybody. MQA Services. Haven't seen you before. Welcome. OG Punisher. Welcome. Blandell. Cold Caliber. Zoe. Welcome. Rel Marks. A lot of new faces
Oh,
out here. Appreciate
wait
y'all
that.
coming
Wait
out.
that.
What are you pointing to? What am I looking for?
Fame here.
Yeah, feel free. You can grab the headphones and put them on. Let's see. D. Buitrago. Haven't met you before. Welcome to the show. So it's great to see new faces out here. Every Sunday we host this event. You can check it out on the Vidu Nights YouTube channel. This is a Vidu production. If you don't know who Vidu is, Vidu has created all of the tutorials on YouTube under the Video Tutorials channel. He also worked with Meta to create over 400 tutorials on the Meta Horizon Worlds channel on YouTube. And if you've looked in your asset bundle lately, if you're builders, you'll see that there are some new assets in there from Vidu. So make sure that you go ahead and check all that out. Vidu's been basically supporting this community since before I even got here. I actually met Lakes05 in his graduating class of a building class that he was hosting, and it was a multi-part day. And you can find that on the Vidu Tutorials channel too. But I actually met him when he was teaching people in build mode. So because build mode you can only have 4 people total, he started putting these tutorials on YouTube to be able to reach a bigger audience. So if you haven't yet, make sure you check those out. Make sure that you like and subscribe. And then of course you can go ahead and you can follow and you can check for new videos every single week. So I'm hoping that Andrew Money gets his internet fixed up. In the meantime, while we got the time, let's see if I can steal somebody to the stage. Who out there? I see you over there hiding you away. Let's see.
No one.
Cold Caliber, what's happening?
What's going on?
Yeah, if you got a question, feel free to step up to the mic. Otherwise, feel free to grab a seat, and we'll obviously have Andrew Money back soon. So what's up, Cold Caliber? What can we do
Hey,
for
what's
you? Got a
going on,
question? You got
everybody?
a comment?
Yeah, I've actually created about 10, or we've created about 10 worlds, 11 worlds, model homes, and I
Very
tune
cool.
into this stream from time to time, and I occasionally see you like interview people who have monetized creations. So I was wondering if you know this is featured by Vidu, and I remember you were speaking on Vidu giving his so-called stamp of approval on some of those creations. What
Mm-hmm.
is the benefit for Vidu giving his stamp of approval on some people's creations?
That's a great question. So the program that you're referring to is the Vidu verification. So if you haven't heard of Vidu verification, basically you can go to vidu.com/VV for Vidu verification, and it tells you a little bit about exactly what the program is. But to give you the long story short of it, as I mentioned, Vidu's been in here, been around since the beginning of the beta. Um, Lakes05 has been creating these tutorials, basically just starting out in build mode, recording himself as he's making these creations. And so he really has been here through the entire growth of this platform, where the scripting abilities, the new code blocks, things that have been deprecated and replaced with new code blocks, and he's been staying on top week to week, showing everybody what the new features are, giving people the essentials bundle to help level them up quicker and be able to start their
Pearl.
worlds easier. So the long story short is, because of the amount of time and the amount of effort and the amount of worlds that Lakes has been putting into Horizon, he decided that he was going to try and help level people up in a much faster and more purposeful way by doing this video verification. And when you go through the assessment, basically it has the video that answers the question on every single question of the test. So you basically can watch a video, take the question, watch the next video, answer the question, and you can get 100% on it. I mean, obviously you just need a 70, but
So the
after that, you
verification
submit a world.
Right.
You submit a world, and then you go in there, and there's a checklist of all the things that world should have, just to be basically say that you know what you're doing when it comes to building, whether it's optimization and working with within your capacity, making things non-collidable off in the distance to cut down on your headset, calculating that those collisions between you and the objects, things that need to be in worlds like respawns underneath. So there's a whole checklist of things that basically say that, Vidju's putting his name out there for you, and then add you to a builder list to where you can actually get contacted by people to do work, do commission work. But also the Vidju team pulls from that list to bring people in on projects. So it's a whole ecosystem of trying to bring people in, get their levels up, being able to train as you're learning and as you're taking this test. And then once you've passed, now you get all these additional opportunities that normally you would have to go out there and hustle and try and sell yourself over and over and over again. And nobody can vouch for what you've done in the past.
So the verification sounds like some kind of a tutorial that Vidju is or has created for creators to kind of abide by, and then he, based on how you do on that tutorial, he kind of checks box you or blue check marks you, and that kind of sends you through a network of, I guess, using the cabal of creators that uh gives you access to people who will see your world.
I guess
Am
that's
I
an
kind of
interesting
getting
perspective
that
to it, but the reality is
right?
just, let's say I don't know you, but you know who I am because I have been in here for 2 years and I am the community creator of all of Horizon. And then I work with you to get all of these connections on how to community build. And then I say, Cold Caliber knows what he's talking about when it comes to community building. He is a community leader, he is building communities. I vouch for him. It's basically just vouching for you as a builder. So it's
But
not
that
about this
vouching is
cabal and about this inside list of
right.
anything. It's
Yeah,
realistically just separating yourself from other creators who haven't had a chance to learn all these tools appropriately. Because most people watch a video and they stop learning. That's it. They learned as much as they want, and then they keep
yeah.
building based on whatever that level is that they've learned.
But that vouching is based solely on whether or not Vidju has sent you through this uh, training course, I guess, and he's
Yeah,
checking
it's
off
just like,
on whether or not you know.
but then as soon as you go through that list on how to get your builder badge, you start to realize, oh, that's because I don't actually use dynamic lighting and animate inside of animations, and having dynamic grabbable objects with trail effects and with visual effects, having teleporting sound effects and visual effects to cut down on capacity loss, using too many round cubes instead of regular cubes to cut down on your geometric complexity. Like all of those things mean something, and a majority of the people in this Horizon community don't know any of that. That's why this certification is so important.
And the certification cost, right?
So
It's
right
a
now it's
paid
$50
certification,
for
right?
the time of somebody who goes in and assesses your world. So you're paying for their time, and then at the end of the year, that's going to go up to $100.
$100 for someone to come in and assess my world.
Yeah, and it is optional, so you don't have to have it. You don't have to, take the test. You don't have to get verified. It's completely up to you. It's optional.
There seems to be a standard of, I guess, a builder standard that Viju wants to go by, and that standard seems to be really, really high. For people who just want to build a basic world, is there some lower standard that can be reached? Because I
Yeah,
mean, I would love
absolutely.
to know how to actually create shapes and be able to not use my capacity to our way to the max and be able to ungroup things and learn the little tricks of the trade.
Absolutely.
But if I'm not into scripting that much, there should be just a certain basic standard level requirement, or that should be I should be able to attain, and also get that same level of blue check mark without
Absolutely.
having
So
all these scripted things all over the place. If I'm just build a structure that looks good, that should be good enough. It shouldn't have to
so
have like it shouldn't have to have like a ton of scripted things before I get, labeled a true builder.
So that's the one misconception. So
Mm,
the building badge is just building. There's no scripts required other than I believe a respawn under your world, and I think that might even be on the scripting badge, but I think it's on the builder badge. I can't remember what all's on there, but the builder badge is the bare minimum, and I'm fairly certain that the respawn on the underneath the world is in there because it's literally one line. When world is
mm,
started, when object is entered by or when trigger is entered by player, respawn player, and then connect it. So that's the most simple script, which is why it's in the builder's badge. But also, if
mhm.
somebody falls through your world, they're stuck below your world, so that's why it's in there. But as far as building and scripting, they're definitely separate. I think this respawn is the only one in there. Now, if you look at this sign, if you watch the horizon part, you see that light that starts to sweep past it. That's not scripted. That's literally hand animated. So when you group the objects, you have the option to change it from none to interactive, and then you can hit record. When you hit record and you just turn that object and then loop it, that's not scripting whatsoever. That's literally just animate hand animating. So if you have a dynamic object, which is that dynamic lighting, and it's hand animated, that's one checkbox. That's one of the things. Having no Z ripping, which again, the bottom of this coffee mug, that's Z ripping. That is exactly what that is. So if I
Mhm.
just adjust that brown center in just a touch, it won't Z rip anymore because it's not fighting for the same space as the outside of the mug. So it's
Right.
simple things like that that back when this world was built, we weren't looking for Z ripping. We weren't looking for collidable objects off in the distance like the clouds. You'll never touch those clouds, so why should they be collidable? Why should your headset be calculating the distance before you reach it and then you collide with it? Your headset doesn't need to react to the clouds the same it does the chairs with the mugs, things like that. So it's not this elite group of people who gets access to this secret list of, clients. It's literally as you take the test, you learn things you didn't know. And that way, when you go to submit your world to be reviewed, you already know what's supposed to be in there. It's basically an open book test with all of the answers in a specific video for each single question. And
And
when
the
you pass
tutorial
it,
actually
you actually
the
learn
tutorial
something.
actually teaches you to do those things.
The whole way through,
Mm,
even the scripting one, which is really hard for me. I got to a point where I wasn't learning and it was just parroting the code blocks over and over again. And I was like, I'm not actually learning it. So I stopped at a certain point and I was able to just pass the scripting one. But as far as the building one, you can definitely pass that one. There's no reason if you just look at what's in that list and you just add it to a world that it may not have already, you can't pass it. I guarantee you you'll have a world that could pass it easily.
So what does the $100 include? What's everything included in the $100?
So right now it takes a half an hour for the review of your builder submission. So in that half an hour, basically somebody comes in, they review the checklist with you. If they ask you where something you're using something specifically, like I mentioned, the animated object with the dynamic gizmo, they'll ask you where exactly did you use this. Oh, you don't have it, no worries, we'll move on to the next one. And while you're going through this assessment, instead of just saying yep, you got the coffee mug, it'll say, or they'll say to you, all right, great, we'll check this off, you got a grabbable object. Next time, rather than having this return script that doesn't have a stop motion, because I can throw it in the air and then watch the coffee mug, it falls off the table because it still has velocity to it. So there's an additional code block that you can add to this coffee mug that says stop motion, then return to original position. So instead of it falling off of the table, it would literally respawn on the table. And that's why the
Okay.
assessment's so important because you actually learn while you're getting assessed, even though you already have what it is on the assessment, the next step that you can take that thing to. And that's why it's so valuable because you're not just getting a check, 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 all right, you passed. It's an actual learning experience and it's actually a lot of fun. And somebody recorded it if you want to go check it out on YouTube. So you can see exactly what that experience is like.
Okay, I get it. A little bit more understanding of it now. I did have one extra question. I don't know if anybody else wanted to
Yeah,
ask
for
a
sure.
question, but the inventory thing. Has there been any word on being able to place your assets in inventory and have people easily access that inventory and purchase it?
So the obvious answer that I usually give in Discord, if you're not in Discord, user voice. Horizonworlds.uservoice.com. It's a website where you can request feature requests, which that's already in there in multiple different ways, but you can vote on it and comment on it to push it to the top. And that's what Horizon uses to kind of gauge what the community wants, what's the community's interest, the most, the biggest pain points, things like that. And so there's a couple variations of that specific request. The obviously the asset library that's live now, which was the very first thing people wanted. The next being able to share assets. So if I have an asset in my library, I want to be able to give it to you. I don't want to have to go into build mode, pull it out, then have you create the asset by from scratch, take a picture, name it, description, all that.
Right.
We should be able to
Yeah.
just share it. So that's one
Exactly.
feature request that's in user voice. Another one that's in there is about a marketplace. So if I made this cup and this is the best cup that I've ever made and I want to sell it, I want to put this in the marketplace so that way I can sell 100 of these, 1,000 of these, and maybe I'll charge $1. So that's a request that people want, a marketplace for assets. Third being, let's say I make this coffee cup and now I don't want you to change it once you buy it from me and resell it. So once you get it, you can't break it apart. You can't color it. You can't change the shapes, nothing. This is the cup. This is what you get. So then there's another one in there about change log or seeing every time somebody remixes it, kind of like with NFTs, where every time it's sold, you get a portion of it. So part of it monetization, part of it giving people the ability to customize it, change the colors, make it bigger, smaller, add to it, whatever it may be. So when it comes to your assets, there's a bunch of requests in there that are all spanning from free to monetize to making it a NFT to pretty much whatever you can imagine with it. All you got to do is go to horizonworlds.uservoice.com and then just type in asset and you'll see all of the feature requests that I put in there
Yeah.
for asset library.
Right. But what you're describing right now sounds like just forums pretty much on Discord. But there's no
So
movement on any of those particular things. They're just kind of people just sitting there talking about it and ranting
so in the
online.
last 6 months since user voice first launched, they've been able to roll out over 30 new features. So I wouldn't say that it's like forums. I wouldn't say that they're just sitting there and no one's doing anything about it. Because obviously in 6 months, there's no platform on the planet that's rolled out 40 new feature requests based on user feedback. Usually it's bug fixes, usually it's just advancing the product. But Horizon in the last 6 months has put out so many new features that they've literally almost tripled the amount of functionality than the year before that, the complete year before Horizon
Yeah,
opened up
I've
to the beta.
noticed. Hmm.
So as far as user voice, it's not a forum. It's not just like a place where you like Reddit where you put your questions out there and hope somebody answers. This is what Horizon uses when you have a feature request and you want to get some support behind it. You just ask people to upvote it, ask people to comment on it, and then you obviously go in there, share it on all your social media, get people behind you to support what you want.
Okay, that sounds good. One more question.
Yeah, for sure.
In marketplace, is there any possibility that it's leaning in the direction of actually being able to sell property, like actually
Property.
whole
That's a great
structures
question.
of like houses, buildings, cities,
You see what he want.
things like that? If is there anything, any possible move towards that you possibly know of, or is there any whispers of that
So
potentially?
obviously they haven't announced anything whatsoever, and I'm not one to speculate, but I can tell you from where we are right now, until we get the ability to put our names on our creations and lock them down to where they can't remix them, or if we want to sell them to somebody and transfer ownership, then that's something that has to be worked out from Meta, to be able to actually transfer ownership of something you built. Because right now, if I build this entire world, you buy it from me, doesn't matter how much, you have to basically create a blank world and import this as an editor. That's the only way you get this world from me. So there's no transfer of any worlds whatsoever. It's literally importing a clone of it, or you have to make somebody an editor and they make an asset of whatever it is that you're selling them. So as far as property, I doubt it. It's probably going to be a while before they get into property, mostly just because there's no way to track ownership. And then what is property in Horizon? Everybody can click on New World and throw down a floor and build a house. But if you make a really detailed house, like some of the amazing ones I've seen out here, if somebody were to sell one of those to somebody, I mean, what are you actually buying? You're buying a structure. I mean, you're not getting a deed. It's not raising value. It's not going to hold value because whatever you paid for, it's private sale. So if it's a marketplace, I think it's going to be
Well,
assets
pretty much like
first.
anything else that's sold on here, right?
Well, in Horizon,
It
anything
doesn't
that's sold
technically
is
hold value. It
basically
only has a value
1-to-1.
here, and right.
Right.
No.
I mean, I could say, and I hate to use this coffee mug, it's the closest thing to me, but if I paid $10 for this and I sold it to you and I said it's worth 10 and you don't want to buy it and nobody in this room wants to buy it for 10, it no longer holds the value of $10. It holds the value of whatever somebody wants to pay for it. But in other platforms, they basically have the ecosystem behind it to where you can sell houses and they have kind of a market value for what a house goes for, what an asset goes for. So it's really difficult to be able to say in Horizon without having a actual ecosystem, an actual marketplace or actual economy of what anything's worth other than just what you're willing to pay. I mean, it's kind of like offering services in the real world. So if you want to pay somebody to, come and DJ your party and you want to pay them $100 in a plate, or somebody else wants to spend $1,000, I mean, in all reality, it's whatever they want to pay for it. So
Yeah, it's worth whatever people are willing to pay for it. Exactly. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now.
no
Thanks,
worries. I
man.
appreciate all those questions because everything that you've been asking have been on people's minds. And I know if you're not in Discord, if you're not
Right.
in the community group, a lot of people don't know it. And so I really appreciate you asking about all that.
Yeah, I appreciate you answering my
So
questions.
yeah, absolutely. That's why we're here. So our guest for the week, he look at that. He just popped in. Talk about timing. You ain't getting away from me, sir. As soon as you spawn in, you are back. I
Yo,
was
I
just
just
about to talk bad
called
about you.
and I just called and cussed out my goddamn internet service. So my whole month gonna be free this month. Let's go. I told
Oh,
them I just
this is
lost hella
great.
money. All right, I think we're back. Are we good? Can people hear me? Am I not
Yeah,
glitching?
we
And
are absolutely good. I
all
gotta
right,
thank
sorry about that,
Cold
guys. Sorry
Caliber.
about that.
Cold Caliber held it down while you were gone. He had great questions about
Thanks,
Vigi
man. Thank you.
verification, about monetization, in-world purchases, about real estate, about assets. I mean, lots of great
Oh
information.
wow.
So Cold Caliber, appreciate you. So now you got to step it up.
Oh
You
man,
you
I
you in
need a shot
4K
of
right
this.
now. So
Yeah, I need a shot of this.
yeah. I tried to shout out your worlds and how you was making a little bit of change off of your blackjack and your $100
It's
shot
doing
and
okay. It's doing okay. It's doing okay.
yeah. So after that, I mean that was kind of trying to set the bar for the rest of the conversation. But I wanted to go back because
Most
you was
definitely.
breaking up heavy when we started talking about you first coming in here. So what was it like when you first came in here? Now that
Oh,
you were off
bet.
of dial up and on some broadband.
All right. Well, my first time coming in here, I came in here in December, and I actually came into venues first, and I basically got the Oculus again because I actually had it probably 2 years ago, and I played this game. It was like a stealth game in a boat. I don't know if somebody ever played that game before, and it gave me motion sickness, like the worst motion sickness ever. I had motion sickness for like a week, and I got off the Oculus for like a whole year. Like I said, I would never get back on it because it like really messed me up, and it was probably the worst feeling ever. I didn't even know it was medicine for motion sickness, but yeah, I should have looked that up. But I would say I was scrolling through TikTok one day, and I think this guy on there. I wish I remember his name. I'll give him a lot of thanks. But he was actually in Decentraland. If anybody don't know, Decentraland is actually a PC, basically metaverse game, and I didn't know it wasn't on the Quest, so that's what made me buy the Quest too. Got back in here, seen the app venues, went in there. I seen you can basically go in and watch live NBA games, have front row seats. They had concerts and all different types of things. And one day I was in there, I had a guy come up to me. He was like, "Yo, you going to the after party?" I think it was like Young Thug concert going on. And I'm like, "An
Hmm.
after party?" He's like, "Yeah, they got an after party going on in Horizon Worlds at what was it, one of Hardy's Worlds. It was called, was it, I don't think it was Hardy World. It wasn't Club 90 yet. I don't think it opened Club 90 yet. And I didn't know what that was. And like everybody else, tried to download the app and it said coming soon. So I had to wait. So probably about in January, I finally got access to it. Came in here. This one guy came up to me. He kind of showed me around. The first place I actually went into was called Gutty's Coming Club. Now it's known as Soapstone. And after we left that world, we went into a couple different other worlds. A bunch of escape rooms that was made by Waffle Copters. We was in there for hours. I would probably say about 6 o'clock in the morning. And my first world that I built, I know we touched on that, was Kami Lit, and I was kind of inspired by Gutties at the time. But my thought was because Gutties had his own rules, it was clean comedy and stuff, and I love that. That was his side. That's what he represented. That's what he wanted this world to be. But I kind of grew up on Dave Chappelle, Bernie Mac, and different comedians of that nature, and that's what basically drove me to build Kami Lit. So things Gutties, now known as Soapstones. That blew up after a couple days and a couple weeks. It got huge. I know we kind of touched on after probably a month or so of that world being open. I think I got over 21,000 visits in that world. Coming Lit got featured on Facebook's Plaza. They shared it on Horizons World, and probably like a week or so after that, I got contacted by the company Spectrum. They actually want to do a business deal with having an actual real comedy show in
Oh,
LA, and they made a comedy. Go ahead. I know I'm going far.
I was gonna say,
I want to touch
I know
back on
you're
every
trying to catch
question you
up
had.
for.
So,
Yeah, you're trying to catch up on everything, but I don't know if you noticed, we when we switch
oh, we got a
topics,
whole
if
new
you look
crowd
around
out
the
here.
room,
Okay,
we
okay,
got a
yeah,
whole new
yeah.
crowd in here. So nobody knows that you was on dial up and that you was running out of minutes on your prepaid. Like none of that is public knowledge anymore right now. Everybody
Gotcha.
here is just glad to see you on the stage. So
Most definitely.
after you got in here and you went to Gutties, you were talking about clean comedy. Now, I grew up on kind of the same, Eddie Murphy Raw and
Most
Richard
definitely.
Pryor and like all the classic greats like who were not about clean comedy. And
Yeah.
as a kid, anything that was dirty was funny. So it was like
Oh, most
I didn't care.
definitely.
I just wanted to hear more dirty comedians. But when Gutties came in here, Aaron, unemployed alcoholic, he really did take that building and that community and move it to another level. And I say it
Oh,
like that
most
because
definitely.
he could name
Most
it
definitely.
anything. He could literally name it anything. It could be called Zuck House or something, something dumb. It could literally be called the Zuck House. And it would literally still be a community of people supporting other comedians, other people that are,
That's
in the
exactly
real
what it
world may
is.
not jump on the stage and push them towards the spotlight or encourage them to the spotlight. I think it says on his desk. And
Exactly.
I can vouch for that because a friend of mine, he would always ask me to come to open mic. We have what was it, Laugh House, Laugh Factory, something in Baltimore.
Yep, I think it's Laugh Factory.
And yeah, and they do open mics. And he had asked me, he's like, "You should definitely come, man. You funny dude. You always talking shit. You always laughing and got you joking people." And I'm like, "Look, it's one thing to be just in a crowd of people and talking shit and
Exactly.
roasting somebody or just
And
playing
it's another thing to
games.
get on that stage.
Like me and Andrew Money, we went shopping the same day and we got a 2-for-1 deal, and that's why we've been wearing the same clothes for the last 6 months. Like to me, that's jokes, but you can't go into a stand up and be like, "All right, y'all, what's up? How many of y'all been rocking black t-shirts with no logos for the last 5 months because you broke as hell? Oh, it's just me. Oh, okay, all right. So how many of y'all rode the bus here? Okay, cool, cool. I thought I saw you. Like it's like maybe that does come a little natural, but at the same time, it's terrifying being up on a
Oh, it
stage where you got
is.
that bright light coming at you, a bunch of strangers
Got
that are
all
just
eyes looking
waiting
at
for
you.
you to mess up.
Oh, most
Yeah.
definitely.
But in here, I got this whole crowd of real people, but the intimidation factor is like way low. I mean, it might be the polar remove, I don't know. But I mean, in all honesty, I'm not scared of anybody that's in the audience. I think this is like my family. Y'all are my people.
Most
Like that's what I
definitely.
really think when I see y'all. So it's like even when I see new people out there, I mean, there's definitely a lot of new faces out there and some return faces. I don't know who this gentleman is, but welcome to the
I
show.
don't
Your
know who
first
that is
time.
sitting up top.
Appreciate you being here. Yeah, but seriously though, I had no intention whatsoever to ever do an open mic in the real world, and I literally was called on stage from one of
Oh,
the
did you
booths
did it?
by
So you did it?
yeah, I did it. Yeah,
Oh man, I gotta see
and
that clip.
here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy. He was like, "All right, Oculos410, come to the stage." It was Morco on stage, I think, or Wyatt. So Wyatt called me to the stage, and I'm just like, "Me?" And he's like, "Yeah, come on, let's go, let's go." So I get up on stage and I just start telling jokes, and I'm killing it. And I'm like, "This is crazy! Like, how are people enjoying this?" Like,
Hidden talent,
I'm
man.
just
Hidden
talking.
talent.
And at the end of it, I get off the stage, and I think to myself, that was the hardest thing that I've ever done in here, and that was nothing. Like I was just talking to the
Wow.
people. And then next thing you know, the soapstone's blowing up. They're in the Oculus blog. There's a video on YouTube of me at the soapstone. There's a blog on the Oculus blog talking about Oculus 410 gets on stage, first timer. And I'm like, what? Like, all because somebody was like, hey, you get on stage. So it's
Yeah.
like none of this would happen in the real world. You're not going to see the Baltimore Sun talking about Carlos was up on stage at the Laugh Factory and he told 3.5 jokes and he was doing okay. Like that doesn't happen in the real world.
It
So these
doesn't, man.
opportunities are just so much
Are
bigger in
huge.
here.
Huge.
And I'm looking around the room. There's a couple people who know what I'm talking about. There's opportunities out here that are just not available in the real world. And I'm just glad that it's growing. People are getting opportunities. So I want to go into those opportunities, talking about the monetization. Now, you and I both know whatever's public knowledge we can talk about. And
Gotcha.
the public knowledge that I want to talk about, the worlds that you put monetization in. Were you reluctant to put monetization in, or were you ready to start making money and getting some value out of the time and effort you put into your worlds?
I would say when we first got access to that, and before even then, when people tried to make money here, I always said there's a time for everything. Because I,
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though that some people won't take it so easy when they first see it. So when I got access to it, my first thing was I wanted to give something different or give something new rather than already having access to something and then charging people
Mm-hmm.
to get access to that when they already had access to it, especially the people that's been here
Exclusive
for a
cup,
while. So left about like $10
$20.
right there, man. But most definitely, I wanted to most definitely bring something in different. So I think my first world that I actually did it with was a world I came out with that was called $100 Shot, and it kind of went both ways because it was giving money back to the people as well. So in the world, when you got in there, on one side of the world was like this crazy shot that if you hit 10 of those shot, you'll win $10. And then that side was free. It was giving money back to the people. And then on the other side, if you paid for the shot, you paid, I think it was $10 or something like that, and then you hit the shot, you'll win $100. So it was basically like easing it in. I didn't want to just throw it in people's faces and be like, here, pay for this, even though you already did this
Yeah.
already. You
Yeah, because in the real world, if you get tips, then that's payroll. And if you get
It is.
donations, then you have to have 501c3 in order to accept donations. So there's so
Exactly.
much that goes behind monetization that people don't realize. And me wanting to be community focused, I was the first idea is like let's go ahead and let the community just support creators. Well, now there's the kudos board. I don't know if you put that in your world yet.
Not yet. That's another thing. I need to put that in the Discord. They need to give us more achievement boards. So it's kind of hard
Yeah.
trying to take something out and then implement that. So I guess they seen what you were trying to do and they gave it to us. So um but it does
I-
give the person something in return. So it's still not kind of a tip jar, but kind of in a way. So
I'd say it's kind of a hybrid of what I was doing and more of what Unemployed Alcoholics doing because with the applause credits, the biggest supporter and the biggest what's the other one? Most I guess it's just most applause credits. But you
yeah,
get
it is
credits
because you
for
get your big
giving.
name on the board. So yeah.
Right, right. So you can be a supporter and you get your name on the wall, and then you can do applause credits to where whoever's on stage, you can hit a button and you can send them applause. And then biggest supporter, they're giving away money. You can get I don't know what it is, $50, $100. They're giving away like $1,000 in
Oh
stuff
wow.
this month. But yeah, it's crazy. Like giving back
That
to the
was like
community
2000. I think it was
is
around
huge
2000.
with all these creators.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're top supporter, if you pay money to get all those applause credits, or if you just leave and come back, leave and come back, whatever effort you put in to show support, you're getting rewarded for just being a supporter, and that's amazing. But the fact that he's putting money back into the community every single
Most
month,
definitely.
like that, you don't have to do that, and that's what I love about this
Yeah,
community.
you
It's
don't.
like trying to
I
help.
think I do it with all my worlds. I don't know why, but it's just people spend their time in there
I
all
ain't
the
got no money.
time, and they can
Pay me, pay me.
and they can be anywhere else. But, I don't know. It's just to show support to the people that come in and experience the things that you built. Even though I do always preach this. When creators do build worlds, man, please take the time out and show some love because it does take time, and I mean a lot of time and effort putting these worlds together, man. No matter if it's just a club, no matter if it's a game or how small it is, how big it is, people took their time and built it, and it's for you guys. It's for everybody else. If it was for them, they'll just open it up in a private session and sit in there themselves. But it's for everybody else. So just most definitely show support.
That's a good message because, on the flip side of that, it is for the community, but these
Yeah,
worlds don't exist without the community because this
exactly.
world here sits empty 6 days a week. And it's on purpose because I don't want it to cheapen the sentiment of this world and the purpose of having guests on here. We could do a daily show, but after about 2 months, I mean,
It'll
50,
get old.
60 guests later, y'all gonna be like, why am I coming to Horizon Live? Horizon Live with Super AF bot. Like, what do we want to hear from the bot? Like we run out of people to support. So in all seriousness, like your community is what matters out here. So without y'all, these worlds don't get filled. These purchases don't take place. These creations don't keep getting built. Like y'all are the reason this platform succeeds. So keep doing what y'all are doing out there. Make sure y'all are showing support to shows. Shout out to all of y'all who just popped in. Like I said, every topic we see new people. Like I love the fact that people come out here show support, whether it's for me, whether it's for my guest, and you should do the same for everybody else that you're friends with. If you see them online, you see that they're in their world, go show support, pop in there. You can always send people requests, but it means more when somebody just pops in because they genuinely want to
Most
support what
definitely.
you're doing. Now,
Most definitely.
I hate to plug this. It is a good segue because same Dame just walked in, but I literally popped on last night, literally to do work. Like no lie, I popped on, I put my headset on. I always turn it on and I sit it down for a minute, grab a drink, go ahead and hit Horizon Worlds. I sit it down again, go ahead and turn my fan on, get all situated in my chair, and then when I'm ready, I'm like, all right, we're going into build mode. We got work to do. And as soon as I popped open my menu, it said Meta Big Chief and it said same Dame. We're both in Dame's live. And I was like, damn, guess I'm not getting no work done tonight.
That
And
happens
that's the
all the
honest
time,
truth. Like
man.
it's
I think that happens with a lot of creators. You try to set your day out to go create, and as soon as you pop in, Horizon World wants to slap the menu right in front of your face to show you what
Yeah.
everybody's doing, and it stops you in your tracks, man. I love it though because it takes me out of build mode. Because I know a
Yep.
lot of creators they get stuck in build mode constantly, man. A lot of them don't even come out most of the time, but I love it. I love it because it shows me what other people are doing, and I get to go over and support and see what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, because I met a big chief early on when he started, and I've been supporting just him as a person since we met. I mean, a positive dude, chill, easy to talk to. And when Regal Boxing went off, I was like, "Oh, this is a hit. You know, it's a hit. You already know
Most
day one."
definitely.
And it's still a hit. That's why it was
Yeah, he was
Community
just featured in
Wednesday
the.
2 weeks ago.
Yep, it's crazy.
Yep.
Shouts out to him.
And he's got the Sunday Classic. What is it? The Summer Classic. Jeez, not
Yep.
Sunday. Sunday's my day. The Summer Classic. But like when we first met, I mean, it was just like just people, and that's what I love about it in here. Like we could be in a world, and you just there, and I'm like, hey, what's up? Good to meet you. You're a builder. Where you like to go? Are you new here? Do you need any help? And just through natural conversation, like you get to make all of these connections. So,
Exactly.
Andrew Money, I want to ask you though, when you made Comedy Lit, did you know that was going to be a hit, or did you just say, "All right, Gutty's got its clean comedy going on, but I want a place where I can show out, where I can bring people and they can show out and they can talk shit and they can be themselves without worrying about clean comedy." What was that space, and what were your thoughts about that space when you first built it?
No, I nowhere thought that it would have been what it became to be. Nowhere near. Because one, I didn't even know what Horizon Worlds really was at the time. I didn't know what the future was gonna be like. Like I said, when I first got in here, and everything was a game when you put on the Oculus. Now it's a whole different thing. When I first built it and I think the first couple days, me and Aaron actually got into a little confrontation in the beginning, and I think it was just two creators really loving what they did, but I didn't understand like there were kind of rules set already inside
Mhm.
Horizon Worlds. So that thing happened. I felt as though I was challenged during that time and period. So I wanted that world to be like probably the biggest world inside Horizon Worlds, to be honest. Um, and I'm a very competitive person. So when I feel like I'm challenged or it's a competition with something, I go hard, man, and I don't stop until I know I'm most definitely till I'm at the top. But after that, me and Aaron, we most definitely talked it out. We are most definitely friends at this moment. I can say good friends too. We had a conversation about everything that happened. We talked it out as men. We both gave our side, what we thought what happened during that time. But yeah, man, it was a great world. Well, it still is a great world. I did not think it would be what it was. I would probably say during that time, people used to come up to me as I was in Comulet, and they would be like, "Yo, man, I want to thank you so much because a lot of stuff that's going on in the real world, I can come in here, I can relax, I can laugh. It's taking me away from what's going on out there."
Cool. Like that doesn't happen. Like the real world, your face gets put on the window, and you ain't allowed in that establishment no more.
Exactly at
So it's
all.
like So talk a little bit about this space and the difference between what Mark Zuckerberg calls the physical world and the metaverse, because I love that he doesn't call it the real world anymore. It's the physical world and the metaverse. So what are some differences that you've seen that have either held you back or helped you advance, where in the real world those opportunities aren't the same?
I would say one, opportunity, and two, connections. Um, Everybody in here, I'm pretty sure everybody, if y'all can unmute yourself and just yell out what we do to put